climbing in and out of the truck, you want to use 3 points of contact at all times. That means using 2 hands and 1 foot, or 2 feet and 1 hand, contact with the vehicle at all times. When you get in the truck is put on your seatbelt. Every time you're in the driver's seat, put on the seatbelt, no matter what you're doing. You're going to safe start the truck. Make sure it's in neutral. Clutch in. Turn the key. Let the gauges sweep on the truck all the way over, and then back over. That way the computer's reading everything. Then you hold the key 3 to 5 seconds until the truck starts. Let go of the key. Truck started. Make sure you're in neutral. Let go of the clutch, which we're already at operating level. So now we're going to start our air brake test. We're going to push the clutch in, place the truck in first gear, turn the engine off, let the vehicle stop, the engine stop, turn the key to the on position, release the clutch, and then release your air brakes. You don't have to worry about the wheels being chocked because the vehicle's in first gear. That's going to keep you from rolling. This is a combination vehicle. It cannot lose more than 4 psi in 1 minute. If this was a single tractor, I could not lose more than 3 psi in 1 minute. You ask the examiner to time you. They'll say yes. I'm going to time myself. So you hold the brake for 1 minute. You start your clock. You let go of the brake, and you tell the examiner you did not lose more than 4 psi in that 1 minute. I'm going to continue to fan the brakes to approximately 55 psi or below, and the low warning light and buzzer should come on. My low warning buzzer and light came on at 55 psi. You got to make sure it stays on 55 psi or below, and you tell the examiner that that happened. I'm going to continue to fan my brakes to approximately 20 to 45 psi. The spring brakes will engage and both knobs on the dash will pop out. So they'll either pop out one at a time or they'll both pop out depending on how fast you pump the brakes. Now I'm going to safe start the truck. I'm going to push the clutch in, make sure the truck is in neutral. We don't have all the air is out of the system. The brakes are applied. We don't have to worry about rolling anywhere. Don't have to turn the key for the gauges to sweep because the truck's already on. Just start the truck. You're in neutral. Release the clutch. Give it some air pressure. I'm building my air pressure to 120 to 140 psi to operating level. I've reached 55 psi or above and my low warning light went out. This light is still illuminated because my brakes are still applied, but my low warning light and my low air buzzer went out. Still rising the air pressure to 120 to 140 psi until the governor compresses out or sneezes, whatever you want to say. Reached operating level. Now I'm going to do my next air brake test. Is my pull test. I'm going to push the clutch in, put the truck in first gear. Always release your trailer brakes first. So push in the red knob, checking tractor brakes. Just let the clutch out till the front of the truck raises up to verify the brakes are going to hold. They did. Reapply trailer brakes. Release tractor brakes, checking trailer brakes. Same thing. Let the clutch out, just verify that the brakes hold, and they did. Reapply tractor brakes, put the truck in neutral. Moving on to my next brake test, we do not have to do anything, we just tell them. It's a service brake test. I would pull forward at approximately 5 miles an hour, apply the brakes, come to a complete stop, verify the truck stops and it does not turn, pull to the left or the right and the truck stops. That concludes my air brakes. Alright, now that we've completed our air brake test, we're going to move on with the rest of our pre-trip. The next is our light indicators. My right turn signal indicator works properly. My left turn signal indicator works properly. My four-way flashers indicators work properly. You turn on your lights and push the high beam indicator works properly. When I started the truck, right above the odometer, there's ABS light should flash and go out when you start the truck. My fuel gauge is at a little above 3/4 tank and my def gauge is full. So moving on to my emergency equipment. Under the back seat, I have 3 reflective triangles. My fire extinguisher, securely mounted fastened, fully charged, safety pins in place, ABC or DOT rating. Above the sun visor, in this pouch I have 6 spare fuses. Moving on, my windshield is securely mounted and fastened. There's no breaks in the glass. Nothing obstructs my view. The weather stripping of the windshield is intact and it's not leaking. My traffic monitoring devices, my mirrors, they're securely mounted and fastened with no broken glass, and they're adjusted to my specifications and they're securely mounted and fastened, both the door and the fender mirrors. Moving on, we got our windshield wipers. They're operating properly. The blade is flat against the glass. There's no cuts or tears in the blade. Nothing obstructs the arms from travel, and the washer fluid sprays as it should. So I'm going to turn on my heat and my defrost next. So you got to turn all 3 knobs over for your heat and your defrost. Put your hand up and you must say my heat and my defrost are operating properly. Next is your city horn, operates properly, and your air horn operates properly. Go. Next we're going to do our external light operation check. We're going to turn our headlights on, high beams. Then we're going to turn our 4-way flashers on. We're going to shut our truck off, let the engine stop, and turn the key to the on position. That way all the external lights work. We're going to use 3 points of contact when we get out of the truck. We'll leave the driver's door open. That way we can just reach in here and change the lights to let each examiner know what light's working when we need to. Now you can come outside. Alright, we're doing our external light check. You just basically tell them everything that's working. My clearance lights on top are working. Marker lights on the bottom are working. My 4-way flashers are working. And my high beam headlights are working. So I'm going to go inside and switch it to low beams and turn on one of the turn signals. So you tell the examiner my low beam headlights are working properly and my left turn signal, or my right turn signal, is working properly. Switch it to left turn signal. And you tell the examiner your left turn signal is working properly, and you ask the examiner, can you follow me to the back of the truck, please? Okay, you're going to tell the examiner that your left turn signal in the rear works properly, as well as your tail lights. I'm going to walk back up and switch it to my right turn signal. Tell the examiner that your right turn signal works properly. I'm going to walk back up and switch it to my four-way flashers. You tell the examiner that your four-way flashers work properly. At this point, you ask the examiner, can you assist me with the brake check? Tell me when the lights come on and go off. And they're going to say yes. Can you do that for me, please? So you have to climb back into the truck for this part.
They're on.
Good.
Yep.
So at this point, come back up here. You turn off your four-way flashers and you turn your lights on to parking light. Turn the key off, put the key in your pocket for safety. Remember, you got to exit the truck 3 points of contact every time you get in and out of it. Shut the door and chalk the wheels for safety. Now we're going to the front of the truck. We're going to do the colors of the lenses. Hit that hood latch on your way around, saves you a little bit of time, because we're going to have to open the hood here in a minute. Now we're just telling the colors. My marker lights on the top of the truck, clearance lights on top of the truck, marker lights on the bottom, left and right turn signals, four-way flashers are all proper color amber, and my headlights are proper color white or clear. They're all securely mounted and fastened, none are broken or missing or damaged in any way, and no signs of moisture. Sorry about me. Clear my third there. So I'm going to lift my hood. I'm going to start with my fluid levels. My coolant reservoir tank is securely mounted and fastened. The cap is hand tight. There's no leaks from the tank or the lines, and the fluid is between the minimum and maximum mark. Now we're going to the driver's side of the truck. My power steering reservoir is securely mounted and fastened. The cap is hand tight, the tank is not leaking, and the fluid is between the minimum and maximum mark. To check the oil, I would remove the dipstick, wipe it, reinsert it, pull it about, verify it's above the refill. We do not have to do that, we just tell them that. Under the truck, there's no puddles from the engine or the transmission, and I hear no audible air leaks. Moving on, the steering system. Behind the firewall is your power steering pump. It's securely mounted and fastened. There's no leaks, and it's gear driven. My steering shaft is securely mounted and fastened. There's no excessive play. The joints are properly lubricated. My steering gearbox is securely mounted and fastened. There's no shiny threads on the bolts that connect it, indicating a loose fastener, and it's not leaking. The hoses coming off the back are securely mounted and fastened, not cut, torn, damaged, not leaking. My pitman arm, trailing arm, tie rod, steering knuckle, and my center link are all securely mounted and fastened. All castle nuts and cotter pins are in place. Joints are not excessively worn, and they're properly greased. Moving on to my tire, I have my inner sidewall. My outer sidewall has no bubbles, cuts, or frays. The tread's worn evenly across. This is a steer tire, can be no less than 4 30-seconds of tread. My valve stem is accessible It's made out of metal, has a metal cap, and I would check the tire pressure with a tire gauge. My rim is securely mounted and fastened. There's no illegal welds, no damage. All lug nuts are present. No rust trails or shiny threads indicating a loose lug nut. All my studs are present. None are broken or missing. And the holes are not elongated. Moving on. My leaf spring hanger in the front and in the rear. It's securely mounted and fastened. There's no shiny threads on the fasteners that indicate anything's loose. My leaf spring is not shifted, twisted, cracked, bent, broken. None are missing. My U-bolt has no shiny threads indicating a loose nut. And my shock is connected at the top and the bottom. Bushings are intact. Securely mounted and fastened, not dented, damaged, not leaking. Now on this test, the new test, you just stand here and point to the back of the truck. You do not have to go back there, but I'm going to walk you back there and show you the airbag. Okay, my airbag is securely mounted and fastened. There's no cuts or damage. It's not leaking. It's securely mounted and fastened. With the new test, you do not have to walk back here and point it out. You just stand in the front and point, unless the examiner asks to see it. We're going back up here to the front. The truck is sitting level front to back and side to side. Moving on to my brake hose, it's securely connected at both ends. There's no cuts, tears, or damage in the brake hose, and it can supply air that's not leaking. Inside on my brake drums and my brake shoes, there's no contaminants such as grease, oil, or debris that can affect the braking. Now we're moving on to the side of our vehicle. Lenses. So the front of the truck, front side of the trailer, lenses are the proper color amber. Rear side of the tractor, rear side of the trailer, lenses are the proper color red. They're all securely mounted and fastened, not damaged or missing, no signs of moisture. Our traffic monitoring device, which is our mirror, is securely mounted and fastened. There's no missing bolts on the brackets. We're talking about the bracket out here, not so much the mirror. Moving on. My battery is securely mounted and fastened. You don't have to take the cover off. Just tell them it's securely mounted and fastened. Connections are tight. No excessive corrosion. And there's no illegal splices on the cables. My fuel tank and my DEF tank are securely mounted and fastened. There's no fluid on the ground indicating a leak. And the caps are on hand tight. Moving on, my frame is securely mounted and fastened. There's no shiny threads indicating any of the bolts are loose. Both the tractor and the trailer. If you don't include the trailer, you won't get credit. Moving on to my airlines. They're securely connected to my truck and to my trailer. They're seated, sealed, locked into place. No air leaks can be heard or felt. The line itself has no cuts, frays, tears, and they're not leaking. My electrical cord is connected to my truck and to my trailer. There's no illegal splices or damage to the line. Both the air lines and the electrical lines are securely mounted and fastened off the catwalk, so they will not rub on the catwalk or the ground while you're making a turn. Moving on to my fifth wheel. My fifth wheel skid plate, that big black thing, is securely mounted and fastened. No damage, and it's properly greased. My kingpin, now you don't have to physically crawl under here and point unless they ask you to, but in the back of that fifth wheel skid plate there's an opening. The kingpin is up in there. It's securely mounted and fastened with no damage. My kingpin apron, if you look right here, you'll see a steel plate from here to the end of the truck. My kingpin apron, the visible parts have no damage. And there's no air gap between the kingpin apron and the skid plate. No air gap. My release arm, that handle right there, is in a locked position. Safety pin is in place. And the locking jaws are around the kingpin. That's all you got to say about the fifth wheel assembly. My DOT reflector tape on the side of the truck. must be 80% or above. My landing gear, it's in the fully raised position. There's no damage to the cross members. The handle's properly stowed. When you turn, it would clear the tractor. If it was air or hydraulic, I would check for air or hydraulic leaks. Couple more things and we're finished. All lights on the back of the truck are the proper color red. They're securely mounted and fastened. There's no damage, none are broken or missing. And the DOT reflector tape is 100%, and that concludes the pre-trip inspection. With the new modernized CDL skills test, they actually let you use a cheat sheet on the test. It tells you what to check. It doesn't tell you exactly what to say, so you have to remember everything is securely mounted and fastened with no damage. If it holds air or fluid, it's not leaking. So if you can remember that along with the cheat sheet, you should have no problem with the CDL test.